we'll start then with the role of the president, Mia.
Okay, so my job, okay, well, we're supposed to be present like at every single meeting, but obviously like if you can't, if you're sick, like just communicate like with your people and I've had no problem with not coming, but like let's say everyone can't go and like you just don't want to go, like you have to go, like you're the head of the organization, you need to, be there for when duty calls. And then we're also kind of supposed to set an agenda and schedule for each semester. So I guess like in the beginning of the year, me and Pernell, like we sat down together and we're like, okay, yeah, like what do we want to do? Like what should we do? Like when should we have our socials? When should we have our tours and kind of just figure out kind of the structure of how we want the semester to go. But it's also not so like set in stone. Like we've moved things around, like depending on speakers like flaking or not having enough people for tours. Like it really isn't. It's really up to you, like in the position, how you want to structure the organization. Once again, like the official spokesperson of the organization. So if we have like external people like coming to us, for example, like the AS elections, since we're like a part of the email, like you can feel free, or as a president, you can feel free to respond to that. Whereas like, I guess like other positions, like they're kind of more hesitant to answer. So like if you get an email, like you're 100% able to answer, say yes, like we're down for that, or no, we're not down. Like there's been multiple times that we've gotten emails about like people that want to come speak, and I'm like, oh, like let's just not do that because I just don't feel comfortable with having that represented here. So you make that like ultimate call of kind of what you want to bring to the organization. And I guess this year we didn't really have like committees or appoint committee chairs. But I guess something that is like to note is that if we have kind of like a spot open up second semester because someone graduates or like studies abroad, it's up to the president to decide if you want to do an election or if you just want to select someone for the next position. So for us, like we just selected someone, but then in past years, like we've done elections. So it's kind of just up to you, depending on kind of what you want to do with that. And then I guess the most important thing and like the most stressful thing is filling out like the RSO information over the summer. Or I guess you're supposed to do it over the summer, but you can do it in the beginning of the school year, but it could be really, really messy to kind of book a room reservation and to get like your dues going and all that. So for that, it's like all over the summer. I think that was the most stressful part of the position. Was working with, you have to do like 2 different trainings, like one for like the treasurer, AS, like banking stuff. And then another one for it's about like inclusivity and something like diversity. And then you do those 2 info sessions. They're pretty long. They're like around 4 hours. And you just need to make sure that kind of works out with your summer schedule. Like I had to have the Zoom on like during my internship and stuff, which is kind of annoying, but it's something you gotta prioritize for the summer. But yeah, like when I'm passing it over to the next president, I will like let them know exactly like who you need to talk to and all that, but just know that it will be kind of time consuming over the summer for that. And then what goes with that is canceling the room reservation when needed. That is something that like you need to remember. If we don't cancel our room, if we're not going to use it, then we could like lose our room like for good, which then we won't have meetings, which sucks. And I guess you're kind of in charge of everything else. Like if anyone ever needs help, like if we can't get a post up, you kind of need to step up and be like, hey, no worries, I'll just rip it out right now. If we're not getting a speaker, you can start looking for speakers, email people email friends, email whoever. And yeah, you just got to kind of pull your weight when your other officers can't really do it and just take initiative whenever you feel is needed. So I think that's all we got for president. And also, in past years, we haven't had, I guess like if you haven't been on an exec board, you can't run for president because you need to be in exec for like your second year. If you want to do that again, I mean,
That's not gonna be it. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
if y'all want to run for president. let
Okay,
me
anyone
know.
can
I
run for
mean,
president.
Yeah, I don't have like, I don't know if y'all know this,
Yeah.
I don't have like strict rules with like anything here. So if you really want to run for president, just
I'm
like
just
do
thinking
it.
a
No
lot of
one's
us
gonna
aren't gonna
stop
be
you.
in the board. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways, yeah, anyone can run for president.
Yeah.
But that's not a final, at this point in time, we'll leave it open to anyone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that was covered here. We'll post this presentation afterwards as well. But the important thing to know is that if you are elected to the position you're running for, you will have a required one-on-one meeting There was one exception to that, which we'll talk about, but you have to have a required meeting with the person who was in your position before you, and they will walk you through everything that that position entails, any tips and whatnot, and we'd hope you guys would establish a working relationship so that you could, if you ever have any questions going into the future, you could reach out. And we've reached out plenty of times to the previous president, vice president, other members. They have been extremely helpful and we would not have succeeded without them. So anyways, just to kind of clear that up, I know it's a lot of information. So I'm the vice president. My role is, or my requirements are kind of similar to hers in the sense that I have to be present for all the meetings, especially when she's not here. But I mean, kind of this year, I've just been at all of them. I don't like to miss meetings, you know. We kind of work as a team, so that's sort of just the president, vice president duo. That was how it was last year as well. I have to assume the office of the president if the office becomes vacant. It did not this year, so I'm still vice president. And I assist and perform legal duties as advised by the president. Again, that's ambiguous. I didn't really, you know, just what she said about helping, we're needing to help. The vice president is even more involved with that and like checking in on people and like saying like, oh, like here's what you should be doing differently, or here's what I think you should be doing differently. Oh, you need help with this. Let me see how I can help you do that. Let me help connect you to other members to like get things done. So the vice president is sort of just like here to facilitate making sure that everyone's talking and communicating where they need to. Past that, my biggest responsibility by far was coordinating 2 law school tours throughout the year, one in the first semester, one in the second semester. That's the requirement, is that you have to do one in the first and one in the second. You could do way more if you want. There's been talk before, we were gonna go to like the Bay Area and to LA and do like a whole like weekend trip, which is something that's possible and wouldn't cost anyone anything because the school would pay for it. However, it's really, really hard to do and it's really complicated. It involves so many check requests and it's like yeah, whole other thing that I personally didn't want to do this year. I didn't have the time to get into it, but yeah, so there's a whole thing about here being one in San Diego County, one outside of San Diego County. Take that as you may. You can do, we did Cal West and USD this year, which are both in San Diego County. It's not a big deal. You could do Cal West and USD again next year, or if you want to get more ambitious with it, go somewhere else. But it's really, all these positions are what you make of it besides like the basic requirements. Besides that, like again, this is just me working with another officer to help like raise awareness for events. When we have speakers, I generally walk them to the room. Sometimes it's a different e-board member because I'm not available or I need to come here to set up the room because Mia's gonna come a little later or something like that. So again, the vice president supports Mia in whatever capacity I need to or should, and I need to take initiative on that. And then also helps every other officer as they need help with their position as well. Again, the biggest requirement though, specifically for the vice president, is those law school tours. If you guys have questions at any point throughout, just feel free to raise your hand. And next is the treasurer, who is not here right now. Her name's Allie. Unfortunately, she's at class or work during this time. So I can talk about that, I guess, though. So she handles the financial affairs and budgeting of the organization. She's done a great job. Basically, I mean, I feel like the largest part of that is just sort of handling dues. She keeps track of dues. She like makes all the dues payable to her or to the organization. So you set up the whole AS banking website, which you guys have probably used to pay dues for this semester. She helps conduct fundraisers, which we didn't do any this year, but if we did, she would have been in charge of that. Accounting records just means pretty basic accounting of just like dues and whatnot and expenses and then, you know, check disbursements.
Another thing is that during the summer, the treasurer also needs to do like a few trainings that kind of take a long time. So yeah, it's summer work. Those are the only 2 that you have to do stuff during the summer.
Yeah, so the 2 officers who do have to do those trainings over the summer are just the president and the treasurer, but it's open to all officers. And so if you feel like you would want to go as well to be helpful in that aspect, then I don't see why you'd not. Yeah, so the AS banking training, you'll learn all of that. It sounds complicated. It's not that difficult. I mean, I went to one of them. The treasurer shall maintain bank accounts in the organization's name. So yeah. Yeah, basically if we like, when we brought that pizza that one time, after the words, that's where we got the money from. She pulled some money on the bank account so we could pay for that. But yeah, I mean, the treasurer's pretty self-explanatory. You handle dues, you handle payments, you handle money coming in and out of the organization and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the biggest like requirement though is that training, which you have to attend. Okay, so this one's kind of funny. So our secretary has been MIA this semester. Don't even know anything about that, but this is the one position where I was like, okay, there's gonna be one position where you probably can't meet with her. I don't know if she'll come around to meet. Yeah,
Just MIA from pre-law, but she's still a student here.
yes, correct.
Yeah.
And so, did not give us leave, but
Just
Yeah, so I guess the secretary is supposed to take like meeting minutes, but we kind of stopped doing that a few years ago because we started just posting the recordings on Zoom. So it was like there's no, like, if you want notes, just like watch the video, you know? But I've been uploading the videos to
yeah.
YouTube.
So this kind of just got dispersed to different like roles, like this one right here, Ali kind of, or the treasurer kind of handles the membership status, so with dues were paid, she kind of took that over, right? And
Yeah, something that like would have been really cool is to like just have, I think Charlotte stepped up and did it, is like just organize like all of our LinkedIn so we can add each other. We're also kind of making like a rank my professor type thing that would have been like a secretary job. And also like I kind of wanted like a big spreadsheet of like all of the like information and resources that like we've got from speakers. So like the name, their email, what they do, and then like what they gave us. Like some people just like gave us an application, some people gave us like a whole book to like their course, discount codes, like a whole spreadsheet like organized to that, but we didn't really have the resources to do that
Yeah,
this semester. But if you're applying, like that's something I'd want like to happen in the organization like
Yeah.
later.
so if you guys run for this position and you get it, you'd probably talk to both me and Mia, and we kind of like, this position can be revamped, but basically it's just sort of keeping registrar of membership, speakers, like all those things you just described, just make of it what you will. But again, we'll try and get her to come out so she can talk about her position. That's maybe well.
We'll do it.
But yeah, anyways, so that's secretary. Speaker chair. I'll preface, Chandria has only been in this role for the semester because our previous speaker chair went on study abroad. So, yeah, but she's done a great job. Continue.
So I got the position a week before the semester began, so technically I didn't really have a minimum of 3 weeks before getting speakers, but made it happen. So basically speaker chair just contacts potential speakers, and Natalie, our previous speaker last semester, did an amazing job of inputting all of their information in a big Google spreadsheet. So I've just been emailing them, and I think just one big thing is to constantly check the pre-law email, probably like every other day or every day. That'd be great. And honestly, it's not too big of a task. Just check your emails and just ask an AI to write the email for you. And it's easy, just send it. And yeah, I think that's just the biggest thing, talking to the speakers. And I don't know who attended last Zoom's meeting, but just walking them in technically and just introducing yourself as speaker chair, put a face to the name, like regard or best regards, and then your name. Speaker chairman, yes. Oh, I didn't know that.
Sure.
Apparently, speaker chair must send an email of gratitude after each meeting. So.
Well, no, personal things is also like fine as well. Like when we walk them back to their car, I mean, that does the same thing. So, yeah, speaker chair is just the conduit between like the speaker and the organization. So I don't know, it involves a lot of thinking ahead. I mean, you're getting speakers as early as like 2 months before we have a meeting. So it involves a lot of forethought and just really being prepared and like handling stuff ahead of time and planning well.
Yeah.
And like she said, is mentioning or just like going onto the email regularly. That's really important.
Yes, so technically, hopefully, the speaker chair for next fall semester would send emails out during the summer. That would be the best case scenario.
I think it's also important too, if you're in this role, I think you'd really need to think about how outgoing you are, because it's like, I wouldn't be able to do this, like you need to go get the speaker and sending emails and like follow up and like kind of have that patience and those people skills to really, I guess, work with their like busy schedules. And also a really important part that I didn't really put there is just communicating to the board, like, hey, we have a speaker here, we don't have one here. And like consistently keeping us up to date as like when we have holes, so we can start thinking about like if we need to reach out to other people or whatever.
Also, I think just contacting general body members, like in the group me, I don't know if you guys received the notifications of, oh, we have this internship. That was most likely sent by me, or the cords, or even t-shirts. I think just informing your members about what the speakers say. So technically, let's say after the meeting, if they say, oh, we have an internship position open, please text it to your general body members. Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of running the email account. I mean, that's not officially their position, but like they're on it the most, so they're in charge of sort of checking in and whatnot. I will say the speaker chair position is probably one of the hardest. It probably is
Definitely.
maybe like up there with president, the hardest position we have. In the past, they've had speaker chair committees, but kind of this year, well, I think for future reference, the best way to do it is just that everyone is consciously also acquiring speakers and then sending them over to the speaker chair. That way, everyone's working together and sourcing speakers and whatnot, because it can be hard. I mean, and it takes a lot of patience, especially in the second semester after we've already gone through like our main ones. It gets difficult. So that's a hard position, but I mean, yeah, Chandria came in like right before the semester started and she did a good job. So I'm sure any of you guys could do it as well. Again, e-board is supposed to work together very closely and help each other where they need. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. No? Okay. So that's speaker chair.
Okay, so I'm the social chair. Basically you coordinate all of like the social events. For example, what we did last year and this year was our bowling event. Personally, I recommend you guys do that. Everybody seems to like it and you seem to have a good turnout. Also just keeping in mind that like usually you work with the speaker chair as well to know like, hey, we don't have a speaker, like let's do a social instead, stuff like that. You're also supposed to plan an end of the year banquet. So we're doing that currently, looking at our options and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Also, if you want to be a part of like e-board, but you don't think you'll be able to like dedicate that much time to it, I personally think this is a good like position just because it's not like the president or vice president where you have to be here every single meeting, or it's not like speaker where you like have to be actively like doing stuff. You really only do stuff when it comes around to the time of like actually planning the social. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and then going off that, it's like an active role, you know, like Yamile's done a great job of coming up with ideas and like thinking ahead and like, you know, not just being there when we're like, oh, Yamile, can you do this? It's like, oh, she already has something figured out. And so she has an idea for like possibly an end of year thing, not guaranteed, but like it's an active role. And so even though it might not have as many responsibilities as the other roles, you definitely still have to like be proactive about the position. Anyways. Okay.
Okay, I'm Charlotte. I'm the PR chair. Okay, yeah, so just it's basically think just like all social media, PR, and like advertising. So the main role is to recruit potential members. So that's like through the Instagram, and then we do like tabling events, which I would say like we all work on that together, but like I would make like the posters for that. And then yeah, make and distribute advertisements. So that's just like posters, social media, pretty much anything related to that. And yeah, you like run the Instagram. I would say like maybe I'm most in touch with like each of you individually because I know like a lot of people when they have questions like DM the Instagram. So like that's like me who's responding to you. And I would just say like it is also kind of an active role because trying to think about how to like promote the social media and like increase engagement. So like I'll do a post and then I'll send it to like the other pre-law organizations and be like, hey, can you repost this to your story? And then they'll do the same to us. So just to be checking the DMs a lot and then like reposting things when people tell you to. And also just thinking about how to like get more like exposure on Instagram and like stuff like that. And I would say it's also kind of you're pretty like every Monday I have like make a post in my calendar. Like you have to be pretty on top of like every time there's something, you got to make a post. And like sometimes like things fall through with the speakers. So like things can change last minute. So you have to have like time in your schedule to like make a post as like needed, And then, yeah, I would just say like we all work together a lot. So, oh, another thing that's not mentioned is like the t-shirts, like anything design related, that's like what the PR chair does. But again, we like all kind of work together with that because like the treasurer will do like control like buying them, but I'll just like design it. And like we also did exec hoodies, which we're still kind of working on, but like but like I did that too. So just like anything design, you'd probably use Canva, but then we'll also coordinate to like get that paid for. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, to reiterate, all these positions are active roles for sure, so. Just to avoid what's sort of happened this semester with our secretary is just to kind of like. Take your position, know what you have to do, and then run with it. You can add on and do whatever you see fit, I mean, it's really up to you, but. Just not like seeping into the background and becoming like uninvolved, that's just not cool, so, yeah, just make of it what you will, but all these positions are active, so, yeah, anyways, anything else?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. Okay, so. Cal, right? Yeah, Cal Rep.
Yeah, I
Okay.
rep.
Yeah, so Daria's not here, okay. So this is the Cal Rep or Associated Students Rep, which is like. Basically, they were responsible for attending both weekly pre-law society meetings and Associated Students Cal Student Council meetings. She's actually already on the Cal Council as like a board member. So she doesn't even vote for us technically, but I feel like if I was supposed to go in and vote.
You were supposed to,
Shit.
I know. Okay.
Anyways, that was a unique scenario, but you just have to attend the pre-law society meetings or at least try to. She has a scheduled commitment, so which is why she can't make it. But and then the Cal Student Council meetings is the most important part and just sort of keeping up with what's going on in Cal because we are officially under Cal. And so anything that happens there impacts us. Yep, financial affairs, because we get money from Cal too. You can do check requests from them. We're lucky to be one of the orgs on campus that is doing well financially. So, and Cal is a mess, getting check requests from them. They run out of money so quick sometimes. So, yeah, that can be a headache. But again, the Cal rep would be in charge of those check requests specifically. And, yeah, the significant events and announcement. I don't think there has been anything this year, really.
Yeah, no, I think also, I mean, as goes for like every single role is to just show up whenever you can and like be there when we table. If we need like extra hands for like a meeting, show up, just because like it doesn't specifically say like, oh, like that you need to be at every meeting, like you should try to in every single position, and I think something that's really helped this semester or like this school year is that we all kind of help each other with whatever we need. So it's not like you're not tied down to specifically this and like I can ask someone like, hey, like, Charlotte's not feeling well, we need to make a post, someone do it, and
Yeah.
someone has to do it,
There's a lot of group responsibilities. But yeah, anyways, the most important thing for Cal rep is just to attend the Cal Student Council meetings. So you'll definitely have to make time in your schedule and plan ahead, and so you can attend those meetings.
And the previous semester's Cal meetings were on Wednesdays from 10 to 11 a.m. So if you're looking to schedule your fall semester classes, maybe keep that in mind if you want to run for this position.
Yeah. That's like the biggest part. Yeah. Okay, so those are all the positions that we have. We didn't miss any of them, so. But after this meeting, the application will officially be open and it's pretty simple. There's some information boxes and some like demographic things that we need from you. And then there's like 3 questions which will help us build a profile around you as a candidate. You need to answer all those to the best you can, not too long, not too short, just give a nice solid answer. Applications will close on April 23rd, which is next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So after the night of that next meeting is when the application will close and voting will start then. And it'll be open until the 29th, which is a Friday or,
It's the day before our next meeting.
oh, so the Monday then.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, we haven't like completely figured it out, but I think I want to send the results right before our meeting, because that's just what we did last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the results will be out at not next meeting, but the meeting after that. And then voting, I didn't like the voting system they had last year with like the whole big doc. It was really
Oh.
confusing.
I was gonna do that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we should do like a slideshow, like they get like a picture of themselves, their name.
I was gonna do it, but more organized.
That's what I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're definitely gonna use that information. Anyway, so that's how we'll probably do. Well, we'll definitely have like a slideshow you guys can go through and it'll have all the candidates running for each position. And that way you can look at what they're running on and, well, I mean, you guys are all running, so this is just more important for everyone in general, but, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
It'll say like your name, I'll probably add like your year, your position, and then your answer to all those questions. It might be in a doc or in a slide,
Yeah,
but it will be organized for each person.
yeah, so people can see it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's all the information we're gonna ask for. It's not too complicated. Just remember, make sure it's like, put some effort into it. Do your best to show that there's no reason that you would not be qualified for any of these positions. I promise you, I came into Pre-Law Society as a GBM. And then in 6 weeks, I ran in the elections as vice president against 2 other people and I got it. So, it works out in funny ways like that. But really, no one be discouraged depending on if you feel intimidated or whatnot, just, I promise you, it'll be worth it. And yeah. That's it then. So here's the application. You guys feel free to fill it out right now if you want. And, oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Are we still doing where you can run for multiple things? Cause I think,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
can
can-
run for multiple things and, I mean, we'll just see. I mean, obviously you can't do like president and like, I mean,
You can run for all
guess,
of them,
yeah, like,
honestly.
it doesn't
The
really
thing
matter.
is, you can only submit one application. And so that means that in your responses to those questions, if you run for everything, it's gonna be hard to tailor that so it's like
yeah,
applicable to all the positions. So 2 to 3, I'd say is about the max. I think, yeah, because then you could say like, for this position and this position, or for these positions, blank, 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 but don't run for all of them.
Yeah.
Be reasonable. You guys can run for multiple for sure.
and something else too is like you can still apply even if you're gonna graduate early or if you're gonna study abroad, because we've had like
Yeah.
mid-semester.
Yeah, so if you only have a semester left, feel free to still apply.
And then I guess just for like transparency, like me and Charlotte, we're both gonna be running for president. But I'm studying about second semester, so I'm already planning that, like she can like get my spot after. So if you want to coordinate with someone like that, like, oh, like I'll be speaker chair for a semester, then you can run with people too, since if you're gonna be like gone or graduating. Yeah, it doesn't really, we don't have a lot of strict rules about that.
Yeah.
As long as you just have a plan and just let us know, we can make it work.
Again, this is all democratic, so, there's no meddling on our end, I promise. Yeah, anyways, so the application's open. Feel free to fill it out whenever you have the chance. Remember, it'll close by the next meeting, so go ahead. And if you guys have any questions or want to talk to each of us individually about our positions, go ahead as well. And t-shirts and cords. Those, yeah, anyways,
Yeah, if you want a
thank you guys for
t-shirt,
coming
just-
though.
If you want to, you should just talk to me so I can write your name down and then you can pick up whatever.
If you want a cord, come talk to me. Anyways, thank you guys for coming.